Hello and welcome, guys. My name is Shaza, commentator of Good Game Asia.
And my name is Zairi, host and judge on Good Game Asia. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Good Game Asia official launch as we search for Asia's next gaming superstar.
Thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in from wherever you are in the world right now. We're so super excited to be bringing you some of Asia Pacific's best gaming talent. But who will be crowned Asia's next gaming superstar?
To kick things off, let's introduce our panel of 8 here today. We have joining us show creator and Yup.gg CEO Ray Cockfield. From Singapore, we have our gamers Estelle Fly, Sherzinga, and Hades.
And coming to us from Thailand, we have Melancholia. From Korea, we have Maknoon. We have Rudism from New Zealand. And Panda TV all the way from Australia.
So welcome everybody, and thanks so much for making it here to our beautiful city where we will have Good Game Asia be filmed over the next 10 weeks.
Alrighty, let's get started with some questions for show creator and CEO of Yup.gg, Ray Cockfield. And also my boss.
Thanks, Shaza. Hi, everyone. Real honor to be kicking this off in Singapore, my new home. And it's just been a pleasure to be able to get all these gamers together and be able to feature them on Good Game Asia.
Awesome. So Ray, could you tell us a bit more on how you came up with the idea for Good Game Asia in the first place?
Absolutely. So it started when I started Yup.gg about 3 years ago. I continued to look in the space and just didn't see the type of show that really highlighted and showed off gamers how I knew them, which was their real personalities, what they're like behind the screens, and how crazy talented they are. So I waited, I spoke to folks, saw whether anyone was going to create the show themselves, and then finally got fed up and said, fine, I'll do it. So that's kind of where Good Game Asia came from. Inspiration-wise, I'd have to turn to the competitive reality TV shows that we've seen, like American Idol or The Voice, where you see other talents get a stage with which to propel themselves into being a true brand, cross-cultural, cross-market, very aware to the general audience, and able to maximize their potential. The other inspiration was Drive to Survive, which is, for a lot of people, gaming is still foreign to them, especially the way that the gaming industry has grown up until today. And gaming content is even more foreign. So people always get stuck on esports and what they see in public news. And that's just not the real story. So instead, we decided, a la Drive to Survive, to bring something that's a little bit more niche in understanding, being like similar to F1, in gaming content, and bring it to the masses, but bring it from the mouths of the people who actually do it every day, tell their story, and make sure that they are marketed in the right way.
That's amazing. And we've assembled quite the cast of 15 amazing gamers all across Asia Pacific. Tell us more about how the contestants were selected.
Yeah, so it was tough. So previous to founding Yup, I did work at Twitch.tv. So I've known the stories and seen a lot of the talent, and I was managing Asia Pacific for the company. So many of the folks here, as well as many of the folks we saw profiles for, I'm very familiar with. So this is a special group. This is the group that I've known for probably the longest time for most of these folks, and I trust them. I trust them with the brand, I trust them with the messaging, I trust them to move the gaming industry forward, especially around content creation. So while they're having fun, and I know I just put a lot of weight on their shoulders, I look forward to seeing them represent gaming in the best way and show the general audience just how far this industry has come.
Super excited to see these guys on TV for sure. So how does the competition on Good Game Asia work?
Yeah, so there are 3 challenges, all meant to highlight a different area. So first is the Get Real challenge. And Get Real is about introducing their personalities to you and showing how well-rounded the gamers are. So some of the challenges will be business in nature, to show you how they know how to represent themselves and carry themselves. Some of them will be physical in nature, showing that gamers can get out of their gaming chairs and get out from behind their screens. And some of the others will be about general entertainment. This is a subsect of people who have a lot of different talents, music, dance, etc. So we want to make sure that the general audience learns that we highlight them, and that we show off how diverse gamers are in the modern age.
Just gonna take this opportunity to say hello to everyone on stream. Keep your questions coming in through the chat. I can see lots of hellos from Nashville, from the US, for Rudism. Someone said, OMG, is that Estelle Fly? We also have someone saying, Ray, you're looking fly. So while we're on this live stream, comes to my next question. Could you explain more to us about the social, the live aspect of the show?
Absolutely. So that's different than really any other reality TV format that's been launched. And it's because we couldn't do Good Game Asia the old way. Gaming is about live streaming. Gaming is about VODs. Gaming is about social media. So if you left out one of those aspects, you aren't really representing gaming. And in that, Jonathan Glazer and myself and the production team, which I give a ton of credit to, we really came up with a new format of reality TV, which is we're just going to go ahead and film them live. We're going to let them do the thing that they do, which is stream every day. And we're going to work the challenges into their daily schedules, which is going to be trying and tough. And it means long, hard editing nights. But I think at the end, the key is that the audience gets to actually interact with the contestants while they're competing. So instead of going off for 6 weeks to another country, filming them all, and then going into an editing suite for a month and coming up with a show package, we've decided to take the risk and just go ahead and do it live. Because gaming is about taking risks, it's about going live, it's about interacting with your audience, and it's about, showing off these stars and letting them build themselves, in real time.
Amazing. And I think on the question on everyone's mind would be, what are our gamers playing for? What are our prizes?
Yeah, so we're lucky, and I hope that this is a number that I look back on fondly in 5 years, but they are playing for $200,000 in cash and prizes. So a $100,000 Yup.GG ambassador contract plus $100,000 in prizes, including streaming equipment, desk from OmniDesk, custom Aftershock PC. Our sponsors have really stepped up and helped us make sure that the gamers are playing for quite a lot. And I think one of the best prizes is the all expenses paid trip to Australia to pick up their new custom gaming rig. So I think we're all excited to see their creativity go into creating their new computer rig.
Thank you so much, Ray. I just right now at this moment like to turn our attention to Rudism. Hi, can we get the mic to Rudism? I actually first heard of Rudism on Twitter, where one of the things that he built went viral. And I want to ask you, you're pretty known for building custom one-of-a-kind controllers. How did that start for you?
It kind of started on a dare. I remember years ago when I just started streaming on Twitch, I was playing Rocket League, which is basically, soccer with cars, to my best friend and my now wife, and that's probably about it. And I used to play a lot of competitive Guitar Hero back in the day, and my friend who was watching said, oh, you should try and play using a guitar controller. That would be pretty funny and terrible. And I'm like, you're right, that would be funny and terrible. So figured out how to do it, and then gave it a go the next day, and found myself on the top of the Rocket League subreddit and thought, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then it kind of just grew from there, building or playing games with other weird controllers and then turning into building my own. It's just always been a progressive, how do I step this up on the way.
So you've been playing games for a while now. What do you think, in the realm of this competition, what do you think your advantage is?
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm like exceptionally good at any one thing, but I have been playing games for a long time, a lot of different games, and I've also had a lot of different roles within the gaming world. Like I've played games competitively. I've organized competitions myself back in the day. I work as a game developer, and I have done for the last 10 years. And so that on top of the stuff I do now as a content creator and as a controller builder, I've had a lot of different lenses to look through at this world that we have. So I'm hoping that gives me a bit of insight into certain things that maybe others don't. We'll see.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing you in the competition, Rudism.
Thank you.
Now we're moving on to Panda TV. So Panda, you have quite the interesting life story. We'd love to hear, how has gaming changed your life?
I mean, for me, like, gaming quite literally changed my life. If anyone doesn't know my story, I have quite a lengthy one, but in a long story short, my parents were in and out of prison my entire life, and they went to prison for the last time when I was 14. And I sort of pulled my socks up and went and got a job as a chef apprentice, and I got paid $3.75 an hour, and didn't really cover the bills when you were sort of having to pay your own rent when you're 14. And I worked out very quickly that I was good at, like, buying and selling items in Diablo. And our local internet cafe, my friends would come up and be like, "Hey, could you get me like a shako, which is an item within the game?" And you know,
A witless shako?
yeah. And so, like, someone said one day, "Hey, if you could get me one, I'd give you $50." And I was like, "What? That's like, 35 hours of work for me, roughly." And so, yeah, it just sort of steamrolled from there. And then I became quite good at a game called Counter-Strike. And so I got to play for free at this internet cafe. And to this day, I still maintain a lot of friendships that I have from there. And I made friends that I'll continue to have forever through gaming. And it quite literally changed my life. I ended up living with a mate that I met at the internet cafe. I lived with him and his family for about a year as well. And yeah, shout out to Adam. So.
Wow, thank you so much, Adam. So you guys have been here for about a week so far. How are you finding Singapore? Any fun stories or places you visited?
So I've got an IRL backpack, so I've been doing in-real life streaming is what we call it. And so while I'm walking around, it's crazy. Obviously, I look a little bit different than the average gamer. And so I think one of my favorite things so far is I use a wide lens camera. And so the chat and the stream can see people's reaction, but I don't see their reaction, but they're still reacting behind me. So we're just seeing people turn around just pointing at me as I'm walking past. But it's been really nice. It's one of my favorite things about Singapore is I was here last time for about 3 days only for a different event many years ago. And even walking around the other day, I went to Chinatown, I went to other few places, and people literally were inviting me to their table at hawker centres to talk to me and offering me beer, and I don't drink, but they were sitting down offering me beer and wanted to chat with me and talk with me. And it's just great, right? I just love the interaction with other people. So yeah, it's really welcoming here, so I like it.
Someone on stream just asked, is it true that Panda TV lived with Post Malone?
No, so we stayed in a house together many years ago. He's friends with
he's not joking.
No.
Okay,
So,
tell us more.
We stayed in a house together, but his name was just Austin then, and he had no tattoos. He was friends with a team that I stayed with in LA for a little while called Team Crafted. And we all stayed in a house in Seattle together for about 7 days. And there was just this kid with a guitar. And a year later, everyone was like, "Oh, have you seen Austin lately?" And I was like, "No." And he had like head and face tattoos. And I was like, "What happened? Like, what is going on here?" So we're not friends or anything like that. We just stayed in the same house.
But you were just there before it all started.
Yeah, we're just same
That's
friendship
something.
circle. So yeah.
That's cool. Thank you so much, Panda. I'd like to turn my attention to Hades now. Can we give the mic over to Hades? So Hades, my question to you is, how do you expect filming this reality show would be different from what you usually do in gaming? So if you just explain to us, the audience here, what is it that you do in gaming and how you think this experience will be different?
Okay, so just the first one. What I do in esports, I am a shoutcaster. I also, dabble a little bit in management and in competitive teams. So like a stats person or even a coach in Mobile Legends. But shoutcasting is probably the most applicable to the Good Game Asia, specifically because you've got lots of streamers. Everyone here is so good at narrating storylines. Shoutcasting is basically the same thing. Maybe depends on which role, whether you're a play-by-play shoutcaster or you're like a color shoutcaster. And streamers, they take things to a whole new level. For me, I think the challenge here is about adapting to what it's really like to be a streamer, because we have like tons of amazing streamers on the show. So I'm looking forward to like learning as much as competing against them.
So for those people who don't know exactly what shoutcasting is, could you explain a little bit about the games that you shoutcast and maybe how you got into it?
Sure. So a bit of a TLDR. Shoutcasting is like basically commentary. When you watch traditional sports like football, basketball, you always hear this guy's voice in the background, and you will always go back to very significant words from hype moments, and that's what shoutcasting is. So can you please repeat the second part of your question?
I was just asking like what shoutcasting is and how you think that would be relevant to
Ah.
what you're doing here.
Well, I think, one thing is a shoutcasting, it's not just about narrating whatever on the screen. You actually have to think about what you have to say, bounce off the people who you're shoutcasting with. And I think that's very important here, especially in this show where maybe, it's not just a solo game sometimes. There's always going to be an element where, you need help. And I think that's what I'll be relying on for the show.
Thank you, Hades. Very interesting, that teamwork aspect. Now we'll be handing the mic over to Estelle Fly.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Estelle.
Hi.
So you are known for being an absolute multi-hyphenate. We've seen you act and sing and dance. So you've done pretty much everything there is to do in the entertainment industry. But how did you get into gaming?
Well, okay, so it started off with my mom just not allowing me to touch anything internet related as a kid. So it's one of those like repressed moments where you're like, I can't wait to just game, like Game Boy, anything. So it really started that early on in my life. Like I was like maybe 5, 6. But then as I grew older, I have like that financial freedom to do whatever I want. So I got myself a PlayStation 4 to gift myself something, and I was so proud of it. And then on out, it was just like, everything else was history, man. I just like bought whatever games I liked, and it became like a form of escape for me because, life tends to get really complicated sometimes and you need an escape. So games was one of those things. And then circuit breaker happened, fast forward to COVID, circuit breaker happened. And I was like, since I do music, I do acting, I do everything else. And now I finally get to sit down and I can't go anywhere. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to game and I'm going to do it on Twitch. And I don't care what people think. I'm just going to be myself and I'm just going to enjoy myself. And then, it's just like a whole brand new world on Twitch. I know, like, you asked me how I started gaming, but oh my God, Twitch. That world of Twitch is insane. And I'm so glad that I dabbled into Twitch. So, long time.
Sounds super exciting.
Yeah.
Could you also share anything fun that has happened behind the scenes so far, and make sure you don't give away any juicy details?
Of course I won't. That's my job. but I will say, contestant-wise, we actually all went out for a K-barbecue. I know I'm a Singaporean. We're supposed to go bring it to Lau Pa Sat, eat chicken rice. But everybody was feeling K-barbecue, so it was like, who am I to not be a good host, right? So I was like, let's all go for K-barbecue. We had a lot of fun. We actually took the train together. We took a bus there together, like a private bus, okay? And then we took a train together, which was really interesting. So it's only been a week. I think there's a lot more fun things we can do, right? and we hope to share that online with you guys. So please tune in to Good Game Asia, guys. Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
Estelle. Also, we really appreciate you giving everyone here a taste of Singapore. Thank you so much.
I'm working hard. We are working hard, right? We Singaporean people.
Good to see. Now I'd like to turn our attention to Melan. We have a couple questions for you.
Hello.
Hi. Have you ever been to Singapore?
I have, a few times actually.
How are you liking it so far?
Oh, I'm really loving it. Singapore is so clean.
Yes, it is. So you are actually one of our youngest contestants. Do you think that'll be an advantage for you?
An advantage? I don't think so. It may be a disadvantage a little bit because I have lesser experience. But I'm gonna gather all of my past experience and all the things that I've done and just like ram it into whatever I have to do on the show.
Tell us more about how you got into gaming and what is it that keeps you here?
Oh, so I'm an only child, so I never had any siblings. I started gaming when I first got my first handheld, which was like a Game Boy Advance that my mom got me for my birthday. And from then on, it was just like complete obsession with gaming. I would always be like on a console playing something after school all the time.
Cool. We hope to see more of you, and we know you churn out a lot of content, so we're really hoping to see what they do, not only on the show, but also behind the scenes on the streams. That'll be most exciting for me.
Yep, and also on all of their social media channels. So if you guys haven't already, please head on down to asia.gg. You're going to find all of the links to all of our gamers, all 15 wonderful contestants. So please follow them. They're going to be covering lots of content while they're here. Next up, we have Maknoon. 안녕하세요, 막눈.
Oh, hello.
Hello, how are you today?
Oh, I got panic. Whatever. Whatever. Okay.
Okay, great. So, first question for you. What do you want to do if you win the prize?
Why only me? Why are you asking me that? Okay. Basically, I don't like to make a plan, but if I win, go out and travel and make some Singapore girlfriend.
Singapore girls, if you're looking for a pro esports player boyfriend, Maknoon is here, single and ready to mingle.
Call me anytime.
After the
Okay,
show,
after the show.
after the show.
Okay, so it can be good relationship, Asia. Whatever. Thank
And
you.
we've also heard a lot of talk about you being a pro cyber warrior.
Yes.
Can you explain to us why? How did that name come about?
Normally I don't talk that much. It's hard to believe, I know, but if I play like a computer or video games, I get a different character. I speak so much, and that's why I like to call myself cyber nerd, because I like this word nerdy, because it is very interesting. Whatever. I got funny, literally. Whatever. This is why I get a different character when I play computer game.
Thank you so much, Maknoon, for giving power to the word nerd.
Yeah,
That's
I'm king of the
amazing.
nerd.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I
Thank
am.
you
Thank
so
you.
much. Now I'd like to ask some questions to Sherzinga. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. So we know that you are known for championing women in gaming. Tell us more about that.
Oh, I believe that women should not be stereotyped in gaming. Definitely not, because time and again, women have proven that they can be on the same level as men. And right now, there are a lot of female leagues, especially coming up, proving that females can compete on the same level, if not like even better. And I feel that the community should accept women a lot more than what they're doing right now. Like, don't like scold them in game, don't like discourage them, don't like trash talk them, because they want to be included as well. Like, this is one whole community. It's not two different genders. We are not separate groups of people. And I feel like everyone should just play together and have fun together.
That's great. Anti-toxicity over here.
Yep.
We also know that you're a fashion content creator, and you've also gone viral on Twitter and been nominated for Gaming Tweet of the Year. Tell us how that happened and what happened in the end.
Yeah, I think that was the peak of my career.
I don't think so, but tell us more about that experience.
No. So I tweeted this tweet like what what people think women gamers are like and what women gamers are actually like. And one photo was me dressed up very, very glamly, sitting at a computer table like that. And then the other one was just me, my legs up and everywhere. And the whole table was messy. And that's exactly how I look like when I game. Yeah, so I didn't expect it to blow up like that. And I especially didn't expect me to be nominated for the Tweet of the Year and get flown to LA because of that. So that was a whole experience for me. And yeah, I met so many great people on the trip and like so many amazing people on Twitter as well.
That sounds super cool. Thank you so much to all of our lovely gamers here today. Could we get a round of applause for them, please? Cool. Okay, so I have a question for Ray over here. We actually have a very special announcement. Ray, could you tell us more?
Absolutely. So part of the live experience for Good Game Asia is also going to be localized. So we wanted to make sure that there were folks within each market that we're featuring here who could speak to Good Game Asia in their native language. And we're very proud to announce that Haha, the host of Running Man on SBS in Korea, will be one of our local hosts for the Korean market. So we look forward to having Haha be one of the local hosts, and who knows, he may even show up in Singapore at some point.
Am I allowed to get a photo if that happens? Like, there's photo op time, right?
So are all of my accounting and marketing stuff done? Because if not, then yes,
Accounting
you can.
is not me. Marketing DC?
But no, hopefully we'll be hosting Haha and some of the other local hosts toward the end of the program. But you'll have to tune in to find out whether Haha comes to Singapore.
You heard it here first. Better lock it into Good Game Asia for Haha. Ray, one last question, and this one is a loaded one. Are there any plans for a second season or future spin-offs?
Well, I would like to say that I'm going to be candid about the whole thing, but no. Of course I'm not going to be. Yes, so we were planning to make Good Game a global IP. So the hope is that after Good Game Asia Season 1, we will be doing Good Game Asia Season 2 again in Singapore next year, at which point we will also do Good Game Americas, Good Game MIA for the Middle East and Africa, Good Game LATAM, and Good Game Europe once things have settled down there.
That's amazing. I'm excited. Sounds like a lot of work for us.
You guys, you mean, right? I just get to show up here and talk. But yes, we will be looking for global formats as well as local formats in multiple countries for amateur gamers to get their careers launched into possibly a chance to be on the regional show. So the hope is that the Good Game community, this is just the start, and we'll be growing it from here over the next few years. So please stay tuned, support, and of course, check out all the social media channels of all the fine folks here and watch us on Good Game Asia for the next 10 weeks.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ray. All right. At this point, we'd like to open the floor for any questions from our friends here from the media today or anyone online as well. If you're tuned in to us on YouTube and you have any questions for Ray or our gamers, please post them in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. Let's see. Question? Over here, sir? Oh yeah, sure. Let me come to you.
Thank you. I'll throw this out to everyone, but what do you think is the biggest misconception or misperception about gamers and gaming that this show might dispel?
Sure, I'll go super quick first and then hand it to them because they're going to be a lot more passionate about this. I speak from the business side. So I was investment banking, business school, real estate private equity out here in Asia, and then cross-border trade for eBay, head of APAC for Twitch. So I can't speak to being as passionate of a gamer as these guys, but even I could see that they were not being represented correctly, and what they do was not being represented correctly, because games have evolved so much over the last 10 years that the same kind of work that I would have done to learn modeling, math, strategy, etc., outside of games is what I see these guys with teamwork, communication, strategic thinking, math calculations on the fly. They're doing all that in-game. So I know to recruit gamers for incredibly strategic and important quick decision-making positions, and then I'm surprised every day about how broad their talents are.
This is actually a really common question that I get. I speak at a lot of panels at PAX and stuff like that. And I think the biggest misconception about streaming in general, not necessarily in-game stuff, is, so for perspective, I've been streaming almost 10 years full time. The longest break I've had in 10 years is 2 weeks. And I came back after a 2-week break and almost had to stop streaming because my wage fluctuated that much. Obviously, I save money and I'm smart about things, but I average 55 hours a week streaming and have for almost 10 years. I'm live 55 hours a week. If you're not on, someone else is, right? And so you have to try and, it's like the way I explain it to people that might not know about gaming is it's like trying to do stand-up comedy 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. If you are a pro player, like Shroud, for example, who's a very well-known player, he plays like an alien. People will watch him play. He doesn't have to talk. But if you're not a pro player, and especially as you start getting a little bit older, I'm 36, you have to try and be entertaining the entire time you're streaming. So it's literally like trying to be a stand-up comedian 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. So.
Yeah, the other thing as well that I think gets overlooked a lot by people outside of the streaming industry is the tip of the iceberg, which is actually streaming itself. You know, we do our streams every week or however long we do them, but there's so much preparation and planning and coordination and work that goes into things like social media, editing videos, stuff like that. I mean, I can speak for myself, but I'm sure you guys will probably agree. Like, I stream 12 hours a week, which isn't a lot by most standards. Like, I'm sure these guys probably all do way more than I do, but for the particular kind of content I do, which is building controllers, a lot more time goes into the actual planning, design, construction, all that kind of stuff. And then also trying to figure out, what games are coming out soon? How am I going to create content around these? And all the time that goes into planning all these things. There is so much more effort that goes into streaming than just sitting down, hit and go, and playing some games, which, gets overlooked a lot, I think.
Anyone over there?
Well, as far as I think, because we're from Singapore, I think a lot of times, a lot of us just assume that jobs and careers would just naturally be like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, which is fine, which is great. But I think a lot of times our parents will not encourage us, like, don't game, gaming and streaming. It's like, you don't need skills for that. And they're so wrong. It's like what Panda said, what Rudism said. There's like so much planning that goes behind it. Branding, working on content, showing up for events and actually, being that, like representing something, representing a brand, you have just so many things at the top of your head. And on top of that, you're performing also on your stream. So I want, like, the three of us are here to prove that you don't have to be just a dude, you can be a girl, and you can actually just pursue this as a full-time job, not an alternative career. I think that's what we intend to do, and that's what Good Game Asia is trying to do, like shine a spotlight on that. So, yeah.
So over the period of COVID, I don't have the business experience like Ray, for example, but I had the opportunity to dabble in trying to do a startup in Singapore for starting an esports organization. And that's when I realized how hard it hit, the discrepancy between like gamers and people who are non-gamers. For example, if I were to be talking to someone from an F&B business or even like fashion, they would be like, gamers need that? And I'm like, we're human too. And this is a real story. That's how real it is in Singapore, for example. And I'm hoping that one day, like what Estelle said, that's what the three of us are here for, to try and fight for the local crowd. Because even now, I'm looking at Singaporean professional aspiring players. They are top 3 in Southeast Asia, or trying to be, whether they're coming from Valorant, Mobile Legends, any game, Dota 2 included. And they're just struggling. They can't find the opportunities. Organizations probably don't want to pick them up because they're from Singapore, or even from a shoutcasting perspective. I've been passed over for the opportunity to go to Europe to shoutcast purely just because I'm from Singapore. Because it just doesn't, maybe in terms of like numbers and stuff, it doesn't seem worth it to them. But these are the fights that, at least for me, I'm always trying to fight the good fight, because I don't think that Singapore has hit its fullest potential yet when it comes to esports.
Thank you guys so much for all your answers. It's amazing. Do we have any more questions from the media? Let me see if we have anything coming through chat. Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am. Give me a sec here.
So we have one for Ray, actually. We were wondering if you actually had any experience with gaming that made you feel, like personally, that made you feel that it would be important to represent it differently.
Absolutely. So as opposed to some of these guys, I'm actually a fighting game player. So I've played Street Fighter my entire life. And probably my most humbling moment was going to Japanese PC cafes and thinking that I knew how to play Street Fighter, when in fact, I did not know how to play Street Fighter. So watching a series of different aged Japanese people sit down across from me, smiling huge, because they knew I was about to spend about $100 just re-upping on my machine, while they just taught me how to play Street Fighter correctly. So, I've been playing since Street Fighter 2. I've played games, of course, my entire life, but as a hobby, as something to take a break when I got home from banking, take a break over the weekends from hyper socializing in high intense MBA or finance professions. So that's where I get a bit of a background. To understand where these guys are coming from, also understand how people think of them, perceive them. And then, being at Twitch, I really dug into all their backgrounds and stories and came to understand just how massive a gap in reality and understanding people have about gamers. So I'm happy to now be able to call myself a gamer because I play mobile games to take breaks between work at an unhealthy number of hours a day, but that's okay. Thank you, Supercell. But yeah, I competed in EVO in 2018. I look forward to, flying back to Vegas and getting out of the first round next time I play in now Street Fighter 6.
Thanks, Ray. You said Street Fighter 2, so we all can reverse engineer his age now.
Thought you were my friend, says.
We're that's why I say it, because we're friends. Anyway, any more questions from the floor?
Hi, nice to meet you all. My question is for Cheryl. I really like what you said about female representation in gaming. So maybe you could just go into detail as to like why it's so important for young women and representation within the gaming community.
Why? I mean, because I've heard so many complaints from so many female, be it friends, be it other females on the internet saying that they feel like they want to stop gaming because of all these negative comments, negative like cyberbullying basically, when they're in game, when they turn on their mics, and then all the guys just start scolding them just because they're female. I mean, we don't want like young females feeling demoralized, and they don't want them to, of course, stop gaming. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Rudism? I have one question coming for Rudism. Rudism, do you have a background in hardware engineering, or have you had to learn things for your controller building?
No and yes in that order. So my background is in programming, is in the software side of things. So I studied at university in New Zealand in computer science, and I graduated with an honours degree, and then went into game development, which is still where I am now. I basically started working there in games since probably about 2013, and yeah, I knew nothing about hardware or anything like that. It sort of fell into place from streaming. So when I first started playing games with these weird controllers I would build, that I would use, they started off as controllers that already existed in the world, like guitar controllers or dance pads that you'd see for like DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. And then the next sort of natural progression from that was I found this little device that you can buy online. It's called a makey, and it basically lets you take any object, as long as it's electrically conductive, just hook up some wires to it, and then you can just touch it and it works as a keyboard or mouse input. And that was my first interaction with electronics or anything like that, any kind of hardware specifications. So that just kind of sparked the passion for me, and ever since then I've just been learning more and more and more, and it gets to the point now where I've been lucky enough to actually build full controller commissions for companies like Lego and Epic Games and EA and all sorts of things like that. So it's definitely been a long journey, and it's a weird one when I have to say that, I basically just taught myself.
Awesome. I have a few crazy ideas for controllers. Maybe we can collaborate someday and do something fun.
Tell me after this.
I will.
Always down for new ideas.
All right, cool.
Hell yeah.
I have one for Estelle Fly. Someone is asking, are you going to bring out any new music for the show during the period?
Well, of course, I'm gonna focus on the show because that's what I'm supposed to do. But I'm like, I mean, I won't be releasing them during the show, but I will say music-wise, I'm still working on music. And the reason why I've actually used to do a lot of pop music. I mean, I still really love pop music, but because I really love games too, I want to like kind of pivot my music towards something, why not merge two things that I love together, like one day I could sing for a game. Hint, hint. I would love to sing for a game, but I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not going to be releasing any music during the show, but I have plans on, connecting the two together in the future for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. Looking forward to that, Estelle. I'm taking a look at live chat on YouTube right now. We have a ton of love for all of our Filipino contestants. I also have lots of comments saying Venom. They're all here, guys, seated in the same room. Keep sending your love to them. I have a question here for Panda. Panda, given your background, is this a huge opportunity to show disadvantaged kids that they can have a great life and career?
Yeah, it's actually, so I've got 2 campaigns that I do back home, and I'd love to continue it. If I can over here, I'd love to do a small thing over here while I'm in Singapore. One of the campaigns I go and speak at high schools about cyberbullying, because I was bullied a lot growing up, and we sort of build a rapport a little bit easy with kids, one with what I do, and then secondly with how I look. We sort of talk to the kids and we go, like hypothetical situation, we'll go, what are you going to do if your bully turns up 10 years later and they look like me? And they go, oh, and it sort of just builds that rapport, right? Obviously, we're not trying to push anything for it, but and then the other one, I work with Big Brother and Big Sister programs within Australia. And so when you go into foster care, which is something that I had to do a lot when I was a kid, you have to fill out your interests, and 99.9% of kids these days will put some sort of game, whether it be Minecraft, Valorant, Mobile Legends, Wild Rift, whatever it is, right? So those kids that list gaming, I go and sit with them and talk to them about sort of my life and where I came from to where I'm at now, and gaming helped me do that. But it's not even about gaming per se, it's more about you can do it if you just really want to, right? Don't think that it's always going to be that bad for you. And then we give them some sort of keyboards and mouses and stuff. I just don't talk about it on social media because I don't do it for that reason. And it's a huge passion of mine that I hopefully through the show can raise a bit more awareness of sort of where I was at to where I'm at now, because I'm very proud of who I am. So,
Thanks, Panda. We love that you're putting in the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the floor? Any last question from the floor? If not, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Those of you tuning in on YouTube, we hope you got a taste of what's to come on Good Game Asia, and hope that you're just as excited as we are. Before we head off, we'd like to say a huge thank you to all our partners and sponsors: Activision Blizzard, Aftershock PC, Electronic Arts, Elgato, Fairmont Singapore, Monster Cat, Moonton, Mighty Bear, One Esports, Prism, Riot Games, Secret Lab, and Warner Brothers Discovery.
Also, make sure to tune in to Warner TV every Friday evening at 7:35 p.m. Singapore time, and join us live throughout the week via your favorite contestants' social platforms, which you can find at asia.gg. That's ASIA.gg.
Be sure also to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Good Game Asia, to catch all the action and get behind the scenes look at the show. Don't forget to click the bell icon to make sure you get the notifications and don't miss it. For now, thank you so much. We hope to see you when the show starts, and bye for now. Thank you.